Shabbat Shalom to all our friends. Chagot Sameach, Happy Hanukkah. I'd like to share with you a few thoughts about these court Jews, as we call them. These are people that were appointed by sometimes Christian rulers or Muslim rulers as their grand viziers, prime ministers, commander-in-chiefs, and we've had quite a few of those, starting of course with Yosef. Joseph was appointed by Pharaoh as his viceroy and served in that capacity as the most powerful ruler of Egypt, really, after Pharaoh. Later on in the Tanakh, we have the story of Daniel. Daniel was appointed as the top advisor to Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian emperor who destroyed the first temple. And we have many such examples really in our history. One of them that is absolutely fascinating, and that is the story of Shmuel HaNagid, Samuel the Prince, as he was called. He was the one of the great sages of medieval Spain in the 10th century. He authored an introduction to the Babylonian Talmud, which is studied to this day. So a great sage, a great Jewish leader. And was also a grand vizier of a Muslim sultan in Andalusian Spain. He was not only his grand vizier, which means he was not only a ruler, but he was also his commander-in-chief. And here you have this almost bizarre situation, a reality where you have a chief rabbi that is the commander-in-chief of a Muslim army serving a Muslim sultan. Imagine if today you could have such a thing. I think it's hard to imagine that you would have today in the 21st century a situation where you'd have a chief rabbi that would serve as a commander-in-chief of a Muslim army in our day, in our time and era. It's inconceivable. And yet 1,000 years ago, you find that there was enough coexistence and harmony between Jews and Muslims to actually have this kind of cooperation, which I find absolutely remarkable. So again, Shmuel HaNagid, you should check this one out. It's just a fascinating story. And you ask yourself, what is the role of Jewish leadership? Should it be limited within the confines of the larger Jewish community? Should Jewish leadership be limited only to Jews, or should our leadership also extend and shine to the outside? And so here you have the difference between Yosef and his brothers. There was this rivalry between Yosef and his brothers for a number of reasons. And I think there were practical reasons, but also, I would say, mainly spiritual reasons. Because the brothers, the Shvatim, they thought that the only way to truly connect to Hashem, to truly serve God, is by devoting your time to Him in prayer, in learning, in total isolation. The less you have to do with the physical, material world, the better it is, which is why they were all shepherds. But Yosef held otherwise. Yosef felt that we must make sure that our impact as Jews should be felt in the street, outside, in the real world, in whatever profession you decide to have. Of course, there is a bit of a risk there, because in engaging the world, you might sometime be tempted, or you might have the pressure to assimilate, to integrate too much. So you see, Yosef tells you, integrate, contribute, engage, but don't dilute. Don't forget your values. Don't forget what you stand for. Don't compromise on your principle. So Yosef, you see, engaged with the world, but he remained Yosef HaTzadik, Joseph the righteous. And that's something that we can do today. As Jews, we can be very observant, we can practice, but we can also feel the imperative to reach out. And to reach out, of course, to our brethren, to our brothers and sisters, to Jews, but also to non-Jews, and to share with them what it means to have a world that is good, that is all about the ethos of morality that we all believe in, the 7 Noahide laws, the Shiva Mitzvot B'nei Noach. I think that is certainly what Yosef was trying to do. Now, he forced the Egyptians to circumcise, which it's a valiant effort, which didn't really get him very far. He tried to change the fabric of Egyptian society, but at the end, the effort wasn't altogether successful. But that should be our effort. We have to be not only a Yehuda, a Reuven, in the way that we serve Hashem, we must be a Yosef. We must also reach out. And that, I think, is what the message of Chanukah is all about. The message of Chanukah is, of course, that we light the Nerot Chanukah al Petach Beto Mibachutz, on the opening of the entrance of a home facing the outside, because the lights of Chanukah have to reach out. They have to shine to the outside. And we light every night of Chanukah, of course, as you know, an additional candle, because we want more light to shine, to radiate, and to warm the world with the beauty of Torah and mitzvot. That is a role we can all fulfill, and that is something that I think somehow pays dividends, because if we live such a life, where of course we protect what is dear to us, what is holy to us in our own communities, but we also reach out and make sure that our fellow Gentiles, for example, here in Singapore, our fellow Singaporean, appreciate the beauty of Judaism in terms of its values. I think that we can make a huge difference out there, especially in a society that is a multiracial and multi-religious society as Singapore. So I'd like to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach and a happy Hanukkah, and hope to see you very soon together with us.